You've probably been choosing pineapples the wrong way. A fruit seller once showed me what to do instead. Hi, friends. I'm Nancy. Ever since I learned how to cut a pineapple properly, I really enjoyed buying whole pineapples to enjoy at home, but many times, I brought home pineapples that looked beautiful on the outside, but turned out too sour or overly ripe. After a few disappointing tries, I learned a few simple tips to choose a pineapple that is just right, sweet, juicy, and perfectly ripe. I've tested them myself and found them truly helpful. So today, I'd like to share these 5 simple tips so you can also pick a pineapple that is sweet, juicy, and full of flavor. And make sure you stay until the end, because one of these simple tips is something most people completely overlook. Now, let's start with the most important thing to look for when choosing a pineapple, that is, the color. Here, I have 3 pineapples in front of me, each at a different level of ripeness. The first one is almost entirely green with just a little pale yellow. It may look fresh, but in reality, it's not ripe yet, so it will taste quite sour. The second one is the kind we're looking for. You can see it has a beautiful golden yellow color across most of the surface, with just a little bit of green remaining. This is usually a sign that the pineapple is sweet, juicy, and ready to enjoy. A simple tip I always use is to look at the bottom half of the pineapple first. If you see a golden color spreading upward from the bottom, that's usually a very good sign. This happens because sugar develops from the base as the fruit ripens. And then there's this last one. It is completely yellow, slightly soft to the touch, and you can even see some brown spots starting to appear. This one is already overripe, and the texture and flavor will no longer be as good. In most grocery stores, pineapples are not sold when they are fully golden yellow. They are usually picked and transported while still slightly green, so they can travel well. So the best choice is not the yellowest pineapple, but the one that is mostly yellow with just a little bit of green. Color is the first and easiest sign to recognize. Just take a few seconds to look closely, and you can choose a pineapple that is truly sweet and delicious. Besides color, the leaves on top of the pineapple are also something important to pay attention to when choosing a pineapple. Many people often overlook this, but in reality, it can tell you a lot about the pineapple. Take a look at the crown, or the leaves on top of the pineapple. Start with the green pineapple. You will notice the leaves here are shorter, thicker, and don't look very developed. They feel a bit stiff, and that is usually a sign that the pineapple has not fully developed. So this pineapple will definitely taste quite sour. Now, look at the second pineapple, the one we said is just right. Its leaves are longer, thicker, and more spread out. They look fresh, green, and healthy. This shows that the pineapple has fully developed and received enough sunlight and nutrients during its growth. The flesh inside will be sweet, juicy, and ready to enjoy right away. And finally, the overripe pineapple. The leaves on this one may start to dry out, with some edges turning brown. They no longer look fresh. And that is a sign the pineapple has been sitting for too long and is no longer at its best. Let me share a small tip that I always use. Gently pull one leaf from the center at the top of the pineapple. On a ripe pineapple, the leaf will come out easily. But on a green pineapple, it will be much harder to pull. And on an overripe one, the leaf may come out very easily or feel weak. This quick test only takes a second, but it can help you avoid choosing the wrong pineapple. Have you ever had trouble picking a sweet pineapple? Or do you have your own little trick? I'd really enjoy hearing from you. Now, let's move on to the third factor, which is the base, or the bottom stem of the pineapple. First, take a look at the green pineapple. If you look closely at the bottom, you'll see that it is still green and looks small, but that is not always a good sign. In many cases, a smaller base simply means the fruit has not fully developed, so the inside may still be sour. Now look at the second pineapple, the one that is just right. The base looks fresh, slightly moist, and has a healthy green color. It feels firm but not dry, and that is usually a sign that the pineapple is fresh and full of juice. And then there's the overripe pineapple. The base starts to look dry, and sometimes you may even notice small signs of mold forming. That is a clear sign that the pineapple has been sitting for too long, and it is best to avoid buying this type. You may have heard people say that a smaller base means a smaller core and more flesh, while a larger base means a tougher core and less flesh. That is only true when pineapples are picked fully ripe directly from the farm, but when we buy pineapples from the store, those with a smaller core are very likely picked before they are fully ripe and then gradually ripened afterward. So instead of focusing only on size, pay attention to how fresh the base looks. A clean, fresh, and healthy stem is always a better sign. The last thing we can observe with our eyes is the eyes of the pineapple. On a good pineapple, the eyes are usually large, clearly defined, and evenly spaced. When you run your hand over the surface, you can feel that they are slightly raised and well developed. This usually means the pineapple has grown well, so the flesh inside will be thick, juicy, and full of flavor. On the other hand, a pineapple with smaller, flatter eyes often looks less defined. When you touch it, it doesn't feel firm or well-structured. Pineapples like this usually have thinner flesh and less juice, and the flavor may not be as rich or appealing. The way the eyes form on the outside is closely related to how the pineapple develops on the inside. When the pineapple has had enough time to grow, the eyes become fuller and more defined, and the flesh inside has more space to grow, thick and juicy. But if the pineapple has not fully developed, the eyes will be smaller and flatter, and the inside will not be as good. With just a little attention, you can tell whether a pineapple is sweet, juicy, and worth bringing home. To wrap up today's video, I want to share one more tip with you. It's very simple, but surprisingly effective, and that is the weight of the pineapple. When you pick up a pineapple, take a moment to feel its weight. A good pineapple should have a balanced weight for its size. That weight usually means the pineapple is full of juice, which is exactly what we want. A heavier pineapple often contains more moisture inside. So when you cut into it, you'll find it sweet, juicy, and refreshing. A lightweight pineapple can be a sign that it has lost moisture over time. This usually means the flesh inside may be dry, less juicy, and not as flavorful. It may not give you that sweet, satisfying bite you're hoping for. Here's a simple way to do this when you're at the store. If you're choosing between two pineapples that look similar in size and color, try picking them both up, one in each hand, if you can, and gently compare their weight. The heavier one is usually the better choice. This tip doesn't take much time, just a quick lift, and you can already get a sense of what's inside. Now, based on everything we've just talked about, choosing the right pineapple really depends on your personal taste. If you enjoy a pineapple with a little bit of tang, you can choose one that's slightly less ripe, with a bit more green. It will have that light, refreshing sourness. But if you prefer a sweeter, richer flavor, then go for a pineapple that's nicely golden and just perfectly ripe. And try to avoid ones that are overly ripe, because the texture and flavor won't be as enjoyable. I love a sweet pineapple, so I'm gonna choose this perfectly ripe one. Let's cut it open and see what it's like inside. Wow. As soon as I cut into it, I can already smell that rich pineapple aroma. And when I take a bite, it's sweet, juicy, and full of flavor. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Just take a few extra seconds to observe, feel, and check these simple signs, and you'll be able to choose delicious pineapples that match your personal taste. I hope these little tips make your time in the kitchen a bit easier and more enjoyable. Wishing you good health, and I'll see you in the next video.